Mm, it's 1985. Yeah, my mum said I could watch it. Life Force. For those of you who don't know, also known as Space Vampires from its initial novel. Just there playing behind me, directed by Tobe Hooper. 1985. I was 9 years old. I'm guessing I can't really stress how much cover, ironically, how much cover the Nutty got. I remember seeing this on Good Morning Britain at the time, or I don't know. ITV was the main. Of course, it was ITV. Look at it. Look at it. It's a Globus production. Um, the ITV-ness of this being sort of all over the place, which, considering what a graphic film it is, was quite surprising. I think it's more to do with the fact that she's naked. She's naked. It's the naked vampire babe film. Vampire space naked babe who comes and destroys most of England, really London, and a few bits of Middle England with her boobs. Charlie Bond is banned from the comments, but probably inspired at the same time. For those who I don't even. So, Tom, what happens is there's an American and Anglo spaceship that goes up to find a big spaceship, big badaboom. In the badaboom, there's these crystals and boobs, and they decide to bring the boobs back to Earth. But these boobs are contagious boobs that create people within a space of 2 hours. Hence, why they're vampires. So think of Alien, but if Alien was a Playboy model, 70s Playboy model, other eras are also acceptable. What follows? So that's basically the first act. So you have the contagion element of it, very quarter mass. I've seen it referred to as. I keep thinking of unit. There is a certain 5 round rapids as you have the science man, Bergen. I'm mispronouncing his name. Kane. I'm totally getting that correct. Who's there? Basically, you have the professor playing the Van Helsing. You have Kane, who's there totally 5 round rapids arm SAS. Would be Jason Statham, frankly. Would be played by Jason Statham in today's era. Getting it done. Right. Yeah. Vampires is it. Better shoot them. And Carlton, the astronaut, who we later find out has sort of bonded cyclically with the queen of the vampires and is pivotal in hunting her down and trying to save the earth from this devastation. As the film progresses, as the infection rate progresses, we do end with a sort of apocalyptic London, which I've got to admit, as scenery goes, is absolutely brilliant. As paint goes, this is very much Dawn of the Dead, but with the blue lights because it's Tobe Hooper and he did, after all, do Poltergeist. So, is it worth a watch? Yes, yes, absolutely. I found it really convoluted, but I think it's it's weird because I think it's just that as a novel, this probably would have worked better as a TV series because the issues with vampires, and also we're looking at the fact that whenever you're talking about infection, whenever you're talking about anything to do with a contagion, whatever the format is, um, there's just two forms of storytelling, and that's pre-COVID and post. There's no way of getting around that. The hunt for her, the symptoms of it are very, very different to what you could do post an actual pandemic. Um, Scenery is amazing. I think the effects are astounding, particularly at this point. There's a scene where basically where there's like a blood golem of herself. She creates a blood effigy of herself by pulling the blood out of these two dead people. And so obviously I understand that they just basically painted the naked lady red, but it is lit and it just looks just so shocking. Like Clive Barker obviously sat there and went, "I'm having that." Um, the puppet vampire creatures are quite fucking absurd in their eyes, but it is. It's the uncanny valley of it. The problem is, it is with the pacing. On the one hand, Toby also, like Landis, has a very Anglophilic approach to London, which can be kind of jarring because he is working in stereotypes. it's not a character piece. I mean, and it is about just hunting women down. There's one point where, and this is the bit I find difficult. She has a body and she has the mind, but the mind is able to hop around and possess other people. Yet, how is this life force? See, the nascent element of the life force, I find hard to very much to pin down. You also have the fact that one of the key vampires, one of the male vampires, is killed off screen, just so they can explain how that happens. No, no, I need to see that happen. Um, it's a very truncated moment. There's truncated pacing, and it is 2 hours long. Um, and I just think it's just been edited in all the wrong spaces. Uh, the fact that you have a flashback to Carl in the middle of it to go, oh, and this incident is what happened on the spaceship. It comes so late in the film. You go, why am I caring about this guy? I'm already been with Kane and the Professor. Um, So as storytelling goes, I think it's quite lackadaisical. It's not tonally there in terms of the narrative. But as spectacle is concerned, I think it's an absolutely gorgeous film. Uh, does show. So it's weird because there is this element of unit there. What would happen? Yes, there would be these fields. Yes, you wouldn't be allowed into Blackheath until you've proved you've not been infected. The infection rate taking 2 hours. So that should be a relatively short term uh element, the media, the BBC um elements, I think are very true to the time, but it is a horror film. It reminded me a lot and it made me realize the sort of I was a big Brian Lumley fan, Necroscope, which I would then discover as a series of books later. The seeds are here that we see in a lot of other sci-fi horror. Like obviously this has been impacted by Alien. But from this and the sexuality of the death, I mean, Species just really should just hand it all to here. This is obviously where this is Species. This is where Species came from. The species of its species is so species. It's be specious not to admit it. Um, yes. Also, I think the problem I have with it is just the sheer abruptness of its ending. Uh, The man sacrifices himself, kills the vampire queen. That's yeah, job done. Job done. Right, Kane's left in the middle of a devastated London St Paul's Cathedral's had its roof blown off. But job done. Um, I would have liked to have seen repercussions. How does the world move on from such an experience? And that ship at the end, is that just going to return in 2050? What? There's absolutely no. Yeah, jog on then. It doesn't really gel after we've spent so much time building up this threat that lead sword can just make it all go away. Absolute bonus points for having Patrick Stewart's sort of snog. Oh, he's actually the Queen's. Nah, and you know what? It actually made me think. Fair play to you, Patrick Stewart, because I genuinely think now, with the head that I have now, that 1985, that was probably a risk as an actor. Um, even as muted as it is on the screen. It's a good film. It's a good film. It is hard going, plot wise, story wise, to try and keep track of these interconnected threads. I do think it works better. And in fact, I would say if you watch it, do watch it as a two-parter. Spend some time, digest it. This actually is problematic in the fact that I genuinely think that as a serial it would have been far superior. Um, so do check it out. It's on the MGM element of Amazon Prime for now. As Brit horrors go, you can see anything in there. You can see the imprints. It's greater than some of the parts, no, but you can see the assemblage of anything from Alien to American Werewolf in London. I do think the characters are made to be willfully pulpy, and to see this much money thrown at it is quite actually refreshing. I understand that it bombed at the time. I can totally see that too because it's a lot of money for what would over here, I'm sure, have been an 18 at the time. Like I say, I was 10. This was a Canon video. I got this from one of the first corner shops, and it's only because it looked so absurd. I think they said, well, it can't be offensive. So Life Force definitely worth checking out. It's not the rip roar of something like Lair of the White Worm or some of the other films I did, but I think as a piece and as a genuine spectacle, if you can watch it on a bigger screen as possible, it is a long haul, but it is worth it for the spectacle on that. And so with that, YOLO, TikTokers, JOLO, Mofos, Lycos, subscribers. Thank you.